So tragic story. Came in one day and my wife, well, actually I think I was out and she's like, hey, the toilet's leaking. I was like, oh, well, turn the water off. I'll check it out. And it was the connection to the bidet was leaking.
Oh, that is tragic.
So I had to trash that one. So it was like 2 or 3 weeks, and then I finally was like, I need to buy a different bidet. So I have one. It just got delivered. I just haven't had a chance to install it. So,
what a good day that'll be. Get the bidet back up and running. Honestly,
have you gone through more than one bidet?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No. I think just 2, maybe 3. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm probably buying them on the cheaper end of things. So
yeah, you want to go. You need to like lease like a $400 a month bidet. Those are like it's like a car, like a nice car. You're just like, that's when you know you got a good one. I'm just kidding.
That you can get a $400 bidet if that's your thing.
Yeah,
like you can get a toilet that's like it's all built in. It's like warming and stuff.
That's the first bidet I ever tried. Was like its own thing in a foreign country, and I was like, I don't know, like 12 years old or something. And me and my little brother was 8. And we were like, just like, we were like, what is this thing? Like, we didn't know. And it would like squirt water like across the room.
And you're like, is this a water fountain?
We were like losing our mind because it was like the toilet's here. And then there's this whole other toilet that's not a toilet. And it just blew our minds. And we were like, obviously immature and young boys. And just like, my mom was like, we were like told like, you're not allowed in this room anymore because it's going too crazy. So it was, it was fun. Gotta get that bidet. I know we should get sponsored by.
We should get sponsored by some bidet because I bet we're the only Christian podcast that has talked about bidets twice now, at least.
It's great. When we've learned, we were growing in our podcasting. I won't bring up the specifics, but our transition to a very serious topic.
Yeah, we didn't really match up our banter with the topic the last time. So yeah, so
we're learning. We're learning. It's great. Bidets, man. I don't know when did bidets start to be a thing? I know in American culture, not a huge thing. Like I know
probably
other places
still not a huge thing, but I think they're growing. If I had to guess, I'd say maybe 3 to 5% of homes have them. Yeah. That may be high. I don't know.
Yeah, man. Normalized bidets.
I watched this guy. He's called Poor Man's Pumper Society. Okay. But basically, he's from Texas and he pumps septic tanks.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And he's like, if you want me to see less of me coming out to pump your septic tank, get a bidet.
Yeah.
You're going to use less toilet paper. The fewer solids that go in your septic tank, the slower it accumulates because you just have the wastewater going out into your drain field. And he's like, I use a bidet.
Dude, you'd be stupid not to.
Yeah.
It's just like.
Stupid not to. You heard it from Zach.
You heard it here first.
If you don't have a bidet,
put that on the T-shirt.
You'd be stupid not to. Yeah.
That's our next T-shirt. But it's great. It just. I said this last time. It's like you garden. You're not gonna just get paper towels and wipe your hands off.
Right. Yeah.
You're gonna wash those hands.
You're gonna wash it.
You're gonna So
wash clean.
Wash clean. Yeah. Get them
we
clean.
should transition something, about something better than the ontological argument.
Ontological. When I think of ontological argument, I don't know what comes to most people's minds.
Probably nothing. Probably like, what is that word? Why are there's probably people who will not listen to this because of the title. Again, we need to sneak it in.
A Trojan horse title.
Yeah. So win the free car title or something like that.
Yeah, it's great. It'll be like, what's something like everybody wants to hear more of?
Yeah.
And then we just like hit them with the
Greg Koukl biography, right? More Greg Koukl quotes.
You might be overlapping too much with the ontological argument crowd. We might be
more Tom Brady stats.
Oh, snap.
Man, I'm going to tell you something. I didn't get to see it Sunday because we were preparing for home group, which you weren't at. But I was kind of keeping tracks, and apparently Drake May had an awesome game.
Drake May was pretty good. Honestly, they played this.
He doesn't have a son, so he hasn't kissed a son on the mouth yet. So
he's still
that's
in
his
good
favor.
graces. On my birthday, great birthday present, Steelers beat the Patriots. Did you watch this game? I don't.
This year?
This year, just 21st, September 21st.
Yeah.
We got a huge fan over here.
Yeah. No.
I'm just kidding,
Because it was Raiders, and then we won, and then we lost. And
but
it was
do you know why you lost to the Steelers?
No.
Because you guys turned the ball over five times.
Yeah. That was against the Steelers?
You guys fumbled it
Because
every
we beat the
chance
Dolphins.
you get.
We lost the Raiders, beat the Dolphins, and it was I
You should have beat
out.
us because we got the ball.
Oh, this is where I
every
got mad.
10
And I just turned it
seconds.
off because we were like on the goal line, and this guy's running with the ball like this, and y'all punch it straight
Dude.
out. I had mentally blocked out that it was the Steelers.
It's great. Even we just
Thought it
played the
was-
Vikings and beat the Vikings. Same thing. Like they're just fumbling. Like Steelers defense has not been a little disappointed. It's coming on strong the last couple weeks, but it turns out it's hard to win a full game when you turn the ball over five
times. Five turnovers.
and it was a close game. Like
Five
that
turnovers.
was and Drake may look. Steelers have no pass rush, but it was like Drake may look good. I mean, when he has just like any quarterback, he had time. He was like making good throws.
Yeah.
It was just like, he actually looks pretty good. From what I've seen, I don't follow them too much, but it's like he's like not making a ton of mistakes. Like their turnovers too weren't him just getting interceptions every a lot of fumbles. It's like 3 or 4 fumbles.
Do we play y'all again? We do, don't we?
Maybe. I don't know. We're both AFC, so I don't know how the.
But you're not AFC North, right?
AFC North. No.
Because we're
you
Jets,
guys are
Dolphins, and
classic Patriots. You guys play nobody.
And Bills, right?
Yeah. Bills are actually good, so that's good.
Yeah.
But for like my whole life, they've not been good. Besides for a couple of years in the '90s, but.
All right. Well, we better move on to ontological argument. So probably the most esoteric, and we're going to do our best. I was telling Zach before we started, like, he's like my test person. So if I can get Zach to understand it, I think I can get most people to understand it, because you'll ask me the questions like, if something doesn't make sense, you'll stop me and you'll say, that doesn't make sense.
I love it. I will. Also, for our listeners, Michael also did say earlier, I only got 9 pages of notes for this one. So.
It's spaced out.
It's spaced out. Yeah. That's great. I'm just kidding. I'm not kidding, but yeah.
Well, let's take this to the next level.
From the hearts of the Low Country in South Carolina,
it's the Take 2 podcast, where we take theology to the next level. All right, Zach, so we have done a series of apologetic arguments, cosmological argument, theological, moral argument. These seem to get some engagement.
You know what we should do next?
What's that?
The wife's arguments.
The wives' arguments? Is that a
No, but there should be like an apologetic argument that's like, because I said so, or like, I don't know. I don't know.
I didn't say that. That was Zach. The wives' argument because I said so.
I'm just kidding. I was trying to think of like something like fun that was like less academic, you know, like, when people can relate to. We could do like a whole podcast on that. Anyway,
that'd be good. All right, so ontological argument actually has a long history, but I want us, before we start into the argument proper, I want you to think of a valley. Okay. And try to imagine a valley without a mountain.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. And maybe you're like, well, I can think of a flatland and like a trench, but that's not a valley, it's a trench. Or maybe like a cliff, but like, so that's really not a valley either. So if it's a true valley, it kind of entails the idea that there is a mountain. You can't really have one. Like, it logically entails
it goes together. It's like there ain't no mountain high enough.
Right. Ain't no valley low enough.
That's what comes to my mind, yeah.
But there's some other of these things that kind of entail each other. Like, you can't really have a shadow without there being light, because the shadow, like, you can just have total darkness. That's not shadow. You can't have a hole unless there's like some material that's been dug in.
Okay, yeah.
If I said there's a child, then that logically entails that there was a parent.
Yeah.
If I say there's inside, that logically entails that there's an outside.
Yeah.
And so what we're saying is, when we think of a greatest possible being or a maximally great being, the idea of that entails its existence. It logically entails it. And so some people, some people don't like. I will own
I think
it.
on its face, I think when you explain it, everyone's going to love it.
Yes. Yeah.
But I think you read something like that, you're like, well, what if I just think of, I don't know, does that mean it has to exist?
Right. And we will deal with that, because there's like the maximally great island rebuttal.
Yeah.
I've heard. This is not straw manning because I have listened to some responses, and one person said, the maximally great pizza.
Yes. I've
if I
heard
think of the
these
maximally great pizza, then does it exist? So we will address those rebuttals. But the idea is that if there really is, if it's possible that there is a maximally great being, then it really entails that being's existence. And so that is the ontological. Ontology just means existence, like what's really real. And so this is like an existence argument. That's what that word means. So don't get bent out of shape over that, $2
Now you
word.
think of like the Trinity, you think of the ontological Trinity versus the economic Trinity, and that if that helps you think, it's not like
maybe for some people.
Okay. Yeah.
So ontologically, like how do they relate to themselves in their purest existence versus the economical? How do they relate to themselves in the economy of salvation? Because they had different roles there. Yeah. Okay. So St. Anselm was the first one to really put this out. René Descartes had a version. It wasn't as famous. Leibniz took René Descartes and refined it, and that one became well known. Kant kind of pushes back against that. Spinoza, Hartsburg, Gödel, and Malcolm all have their versions. Plantinga is going to take Gödel's version and kind of give it to what it's today. So out of all that, what you should remember is there's kind of the big three.
Okay.
Anselm.
He's like the first person that gets a lot of credit, foundational.
Anselm, Leibniz, and then Plantinga.
Plantinga. I don't know Plantinga as much.
Yeah, he's from. I would have said this for sure, but now that I had to say it on the podcast, I'm doubtful. But I'm pretty sure he was at Notre Dame.
Okay.
But I think he's a Catholic philosopher, but he's like a philosopher of religion. He's a pretty famous 20th century philosopher. William Lane Craig did a lot of studying underneath him. Okay. So I figure we could hit the big three versions and see how it's the argument's kind of morphed over time. Anselm, in his Proslogion 2 and 3, on his chapter 2 in Existence Reality, said that God is that which nothing greater can be conceived. And then you're like, well, I could think of something greater. Well, as soon as you do,
then that's God.
That is God.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Yeah. God exists in the understanding and the mind. A being that exists in reality is greater than one that merely exists in the mind. So if God exists only in the mind, we could conceive of something even greater, a God that has real existence. But that is impossible, since nothing is greater than God can be conceived. Therefore, God exists in reality.
Yeah. I mean, it's like to me, like, I get these and I've heard these things, but it does not compute with me very well, where it's like I get these propositions, I can like replicate them for a test.
Yeah.
But
did you have to replicate this for a test? Yeah,
like with Western, I took a class in college that was like themes in Western thought, and it just like, you read major things, and they, I went to Christian college, they always try to like combat stuff with this. And so you learn about all these arguments, but not in a deep level. Yeah. Like you learn like little taglines, and maybe you match, or you write something like this. And so that's basically...
So Anselm is basically saying, if we agree to the premise that God is that which nothing greater than can be conceived, then he must exist, because a God in the mind is less than a God that's really real. That's really the kind of the pivotal point.
Yeah.
And so he writes on it again, chapter 3, on necessary existence. God is the greatest conceivable being. Necessary existence is greater than contingent existence. If God existed contingently, we could conceive of something greater, a necessary God, but nothing greater than God can be conceived. Therefore, God is necessary.
I will say this just came to my mind. I need to share with you this article because you're gonna get triggered. But it was basically talking about, I don't want to derail this, but how we can trace like the downfall of like everything in Christianity to Aquinas.
Aquinas.
It was great. It was like too dependent on natural law and got away from scripture. Too much Aristotle and Plato and not enough God.
My goodness.
I knew this would trigger you.
I'm already triggered.
I should have said this to you because it's great. Anyway, sorry. Because it's like, I get these arguments. There's not a good corollary. There's no analogy. Like, this is the hard thing because, like, I guess we'll address it. Like, with the maximally great pizza, like, is that bad because it's, like, not the greatest thing, like, being? So it only works, like, with one thing. It's, like, a one of one thing. So it's hard because there's not a lot of analogies to go with it.
Yeah. And this one...
like, could you be like, oh, the absolute worst thing is that, like, is there something like that or not real? It's like, so, Well,
the worst thing in philosophy is non-existence.
Okay.
If you don't exist, that's worse than
the worst,
existing. Yeah. And so if you never were conceived of, if you never in Thomistic Thomas Aquinas philosophy, there's different acts of existence.
Okay.
So a horse has the first act of existence. It really exists in reality. It also has the second act of existence. It exists in our minds. We know what a horse is in our mind. A unicorn exists only in the second act of existence. We know what it is in our mind, but it doesn't actually exist in reality. So I guess the worst thing would be something that doesn't exist in the first or second act.
Second one. I gotcha. Yeah. Okay.
I don't know.
And that's worse than being an active agent that does bad things because you had no existence like that,
Yeah. So there is an argument, a defense against the problem of evil that argues along the lines that existence is better than non-existence. So why did God create stuff? Well, that he knew was going to be evil because existence itself is good. And God loves the thing that exists. So there's a way that God loves Satan, even though we would typically say that he doesn't love Satan, but he loves Satan because of the existence that he has. Yeah.
Okay. I see.
The functions that he does. Yeah. So this is, we're going to, instead of getting bogged down, we're just going to go on to Leibniz refinement of Descartes. So Leibniz argued, this guy's also who came up with calculus.
I've heard this name. Okay.
Along the same time as the apple falling guy. Newton.
Yeah. Okay, that's what I thought, but I don't know enough about. Yeah. Okay.
So pretty smart guys. He says the ontological argument succeeds only if the concept of a supremely perfect being is coherent. So that he has given a way for you to potentially derail this argument. If the concept of a supremely perfect being is possible, then such a being exists necessarily.
Okay.
The concept of supremely perfect being is possible, and Leibniz goes on to defend it in his writings. And so then he's going to conclude that a supremely perfect being exists necessarily. So kind of takes what Descartes had written earlier, tightens it up because Descartes didn't have the idea of coherence in his.
Yeah.
But this does give you an avenue. Like if you're an atheist, you could say, well, and some people have argued this, like they've argued that omnipotence is incoherent. So maybe you've heard, if can God create a rock that he can't lift?
Right. Yeah.
And that's trying to show the incoherence of omnipotence. There's an answer to that. That's not this podcast, but there have been.
Yeah.
Can God give away his power?
Yeah.
If he can, then he's not omnipotent. If he can't, then he's not omnipotent. So those types of things have been shown. I don't think those ultimately go through.
Sure, yeah.
But they've been raised up to try to show the incoherence of omnipotence. All right, so Kant came on the scene. And if you know your philosophers, you know as someone who's been trained Thomistically, like I appreciate what Kant did, but I don't agree with everything he did because he's trying to answer some questions that he accepts some premises that he should never accept, and so he does this thing of trying to take the idealist and the I can't think of the word for them, but Locke and and putting them back together, the imperialist.
Yes.
Kant's critique, he's going to say that existence is not a predicate. And so the real thing here is that we can say, when we're trying to think of something that's really, really good, this kombucha that we're drinking.
Oh, there you go.
We could describe a lot of its essence, its nature. But I was talking about, the first and second existence. So what we're saying is, like, you can think of all the attributes of a unicorn, and that's what we mean to predicate. So has 4 horses. We're predicating of it that it has four horses, four legs. It has a horn. It has a fur. It has a mane. It has a tail. It has muscles like this. All those things that we can predicate about the unicorn. He's saying existence is not one of those things. You can't it's a category error is what Kant is going to argue. And so therefore he's going to say that these other arguments that Anselm and Leibniz put through don't really work, because they're trying to predicate of this maximally great being existence.
That doesn't necessarily have to exist. It could be something you think of, but not an existing thing. Yeah, right, I gotcha. Okay, right. I see.
Yeah. So I think it kind of hits at that maybe intuition that some people have, that just because you dream up something, it doesn't necessarily make it exist. Like, it's not something you can predicate. So this is, how we would, Thomas would reply. We distinguish between essence, what something is, and existence, that it is. And we would agree with Kant that existence isn't necessarily a predicate, but it's an act. So we would say that existence is being, it's like participating in reality. But you can have different types of existence. You can have necessary and contingent existence. And that is where Gödel and then Plantinga is going to go. So they're going to take this out of existence and non-existence into necessary and contingent. And
is this going back to what we were talking about at the top? Just to make some connection to where mountain and valley, like
right,
shadow and light, like you need these things.
Well, all of these kind of are on those. So the ontological argument is going to argue along those lines, no matter if you're at the top with Anselm or at the bottom with Plantinga.
So they're saying like, he's basically arguing because a shadow exists, now light has to exist.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. All right. So Plantinga puts it into modal, and that means modes of existence.
Okay.
So, so he's going to say a maximally great being is defined as an omniscient, omnipotent, morally perfect, and existing necessarily in every possible world. Okay. So that's what he's going to define up top.
Okay.
And then he's going to make this very modest claim. It's possible that a maximally great being exists. So for the atheist, someone or not, you could be a theist, I guess. You couldn't be a theist. For the atheist, in order to stop this argument from going through, you have to deny this premise right here. Because if you, it's like the camel.
Once you do this, everything else must follow. Yeah.
Right. Once you allow premise 2, it's possible that a maximally great being exists. Everything else follows modally. 3, if it is possible, then a maximally great being exists in some possible worlds. So what we're saying is, of all the worlds you could dream up, doesn't necessarily mean that there's this world ensemble out there, but of all the possible worlds that we could think of, if a maximally great being is possible, then that being is going to be in some of these possible worlds. If it's not in any of those possible worlds, then it's not possible.
Yeah.
So if it is possible, it's going to be in some of those possible worlds. Now we're going to say, if a maximally great being exists in some possible world, then it exists in all possible worlds, since a necessary existence cannot be confined.
Yeah.
So since we've already said that a maximally great being exists necessarily, if it exists in some possible worlds, then it has to exist in all possible worlds. And we're living in a possible world. We're living in the actual world. So if it exists in all possible worlds, then it exists in the actual world. Therefore, a maximally great being does actually exist.
This one to me makes more sense.
Yeah.
Like it's easier to follow. Yeah.
I think it is refined because I think it captures what the older folks were trying to say.
Yeah.
But in in a way that's more defensible
Yeah.
and more logically sound.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we're in the Matrix.
Maybe we're in the Matrix.
You know?
Yeah. So it avoids Kant's critique. So we stopped talking about existence and non-existence. We just talked about, possible, and we moved it all to modal logic. And you can predicate necessity. You can predicate contingency, because you can say you're a contingent being. You're predicating of that.
Yeah.
So it avoids Kant's, what he came up with.
So basically, the atheist is just going to say this maximal great being can't exist, or it's like it's not possible. Like
yeah, you'd have
to.
You'd either have to take out the first or second premise. You'd either have to say that how he has defined a maximally great being is wrong, and it's not. You'd have to show that a maximally great being is not a necessary being. I think that'd be difficult to do, because you could always show that a necessary being is better than a contingent being.
Yeah.
So that one would be difficult to do. And then you'd have to show that the second premise is false, that it's not possible for there to be a match. And so some people are like, there's not a single maximally, some people have argued this way, there's not a single maximally greatest being. It's like gradations, and you can just keep getting better, and there's not a single one up there. And they try to get around it that way, but I don't know that works, that goes through.
Yeah, I'm curious. Yeah, objecting. Yeah.
Right. So there is this idea of the greatest possible island, the greatest possible pizza. The problem with this is these are by their very nature contingent.
Okay. Yeah. Not necessary.
It is logically inconsistent to try to conceive of a necessary pizza, a pizza that exists in every possible world.
Yeah.
Things that are made out of matter are by definition contingent. Yeah.
So, I mean, what could you go to that's not matter, that's not maximally? Could you do this with like I don't know. Yeah.
So if you get matter out of it, now we're talking about some abstract object. And so then are we talking about a concrete abstract object or a non-concrete abstract object? So a concrete abstract object would be something like God.
Yeah.
Who can stand in causal relationships. A non-concrete would be something like a Platonic form, like the form of the number 3, the form of triangleness, the form of tubiness. According to Plato, everything that we have down here, there's some form. And we can debate whether those exist or not, but that would be the realm that we're automatically being pushed into, because we're looking for something that's not contingent.
Gotcha.
So that's why these island ones don't go through.
They don't make sense, yeah.
They kind of miss the idea of contingency versus necessary. And it's hard to think of what a maximally great island is, because what you want in an island, what I want in an island are different, because they're contingent, right? Whereas in a God, you start like getting things down to, and this is we would talk about God being simple in his being, versus us who are not simple. We're composed of parts. We have all these things. So when you simplify the oneness of God, existence itself, and all those things, then it's easier to talk. It's easier to. It's not just that it's easy that makes it possible, but you can see how there could be a maximally great. Yeah. And so, Plantinga can define, here is what a maximally great being is, and puts those things out there. I don't even know that you could define what a maximally great pizza is.
Definitely not pineapple on pizza, not right? Is that?
and then some people would be like, definitely pineapple. Yeah. So,
but same thing. Like, I feel like you talk to 100 different people, while they might agree on an all-loving God. I don't know what that means. I mean, do you know what I mean? Like, some people would be like, all-loving means accepting of everybody, no matter what, and condoning everyone's actions. Well, maybe not all loving. So all loving, it's just powerful and knowing. So love is not part of this
omniscient, omnipotent, morally perfect.
Okay.
So yeah. So you could debate. So this is a question of epistemology versus ontology. Like, how do we know what morally perfect is? What is moral perfection? Can we know that? versus does it exist. So you could have people who have a lesser understanding of moral perfection that would maybe let murderers go free versus someone who's like, no, we value human life so much that we're not going to let murderers go free. So that would be like but that wouldn't, I don't know that would, because you could argue we don't necessarily know what moral perfection is. We disagree.
We don't know. Yeah. Because
I don't know that would inveigh against this argument, because they're just saying that there is some being who is morally perfect, even if we don't know
what it is.
What that is. Yeah. So that is the ontological argument. You're probably left a little underwhelmed.
I think I did like that. I think it makes sense that if it has to be there, it will be there. I don't love it though.
You don't love it.
It's not as satisfying.
When I first was introduced to it, I didn't love it. I couldn't say that. If I'm talking to someone on the street, let me tell you, I'm not going to whip out the ontological argument.
Ray Comfort on the side,
I think it is a very, it's like if you enjoy mathematical proofs, like, hey, I can prove to you that the square root of 2 is an irrational number. And you're like, oh, wow, that is a cool proof. Like, if you can enjoy proofs for the proof's sake, then I think this is probably an argument that you're going to like. If you didn't like geometry in school and you didn't like using side angle side and all that stuff, this is probably not the argument that you want to use.
That's great. I love the witnessing, choose your own adventure witnessing. Be like, hey, you want to talk about the square root of 2, or do you want to talk about, and like, all right, you chose ontological argument. Here we go. You chose the moral argument. Here we go. It's
that actually we need to patent that, the choose your own adventure witnessing.
That's great. You say something in that's like a decision tree, a flow chart we follow. It's good.
Yeah. All right, so we got time. So there has been recently developed a new argument that's like a brother argument to the ontological argument.
Oh, tell me more.
The modal argument from beginnings by Pruss and Rasmussen. And this one's even, I like this because it's even, the beginning premises, it's like the nose of the camel is even less offensive than Plantinga is. And so it says, for any positive state, a state of affairs S that can begin to exist, it is possible there is an external cause of S. So what it's saying is, let me break that down for you. If it's worded funny, but a contingent, if something begins to exist, it has to be contingent. Okay. So another way of saying this is, if I were to rephrase this one, is if a contingent state of affairs can begin to exist, then it's possible that there is an external cause of those
that makes sense.
Affairs.
Yep, I think most
and you'd
people,
be like, that seems, that checks up. Second premise: it is possible that the state of affairs contingent. Let me remember. It is possible that the state of affairs contingent concrete beings exist begins to obtain. Contingent concrete beings exist begins to obtain. So it's just saying that it's possible that contingent concrete beings begin to exist, that comes about. If 1 and 2, then it is possible that a necessary concrete being exists.
That makes sense.
Yeah. If it is possible that a necessary concrete being exists, then it exists. Therefore, a necessary concrete being exists. So basically, if I were to word this, in layman's term, it's basically saying that if a contingent state of affairs can come into being, and that contingent state of affairs can be a contingent concrete being, then it's possible that a necessary concrete being exists. And if it's only possible, again, that a necessary concrete being exists by modal logic, then it has to exist in every possible world, and therefore it exists.
Boom. What can you walk through? What's the definition of a being?
Anything that exists.
Anything. A being is a thing. Okay, gotcha. Okay.
Anything.
So it could be like a force of sorts. It's not necessarily personal at all.
Yes.
By definition, it doesn't have to be. Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah. All forces that we know have their heart in matter. So the force of gravity is matter attracting. Is force of electromagnetism is like charges, electrons and stuff like that. So I don't know. I'm trying to think through the physics of that. You could have a world where, I'm trying to think through. If you had a world that just had pure vacuum energy, you would still have the particle pair production out of that vacuum energy layer. So I don't know how you could have a force exist without having some matter exist along with it. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, so going back, so a being is just anything.
Sure, something that exists.
So like you're saying, like gravity is a being, or electromagnetic charge.
I wouldn't say gravity is a being. Gravity is an effect we see that happens when between two beings.
Okay, so like two planets or two beings.
Right.
Okay, gotcha. That's confusing. That helps me out. So where a being is really vague and doesn't mean much.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
It's something that's concrete. So what we're saying is not abstract, like something not Platonic, not a
gotcha.
form.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yep. So again, it follows the same modal structure as the ontological argument. Goes from possible to necessary to actual. This time, it doesn't start with the concept of God, but with possible beginnings, and it converges on a necessary concrete being that's there. And so the beauty of this is the premises are very, very modest to begin with. It's like hard to deny those, but then it ends in that. So
boom. So people to disagree or try to disprove this. What do you say that external causes not necessary causes don't always cause contingent things? Is that like what you have to say?
To get around this most recent one, this is so recent. I've only heard it. I've not heard an atheist response to this, so I don't know how an atheist.
Maybe drop in the comments. Maybe we'll hit the first one.
So I don't. If I were to try to, I'm trying to put myself in the atheist.
I'm just thinking of good titles for this video. Is like, atheists have no answer. It'll get not just to get
we'll get all
engagement.
The attention that we don't want.
Yeah. Well, just so we can learn what the pushback would be.
All right, that would
what I'm saying?
definitely.
I'm not saying in a bad way, but
Yeah.
Anyway,
atheists don't have an answer that Michael knows of.
That's great. That'll be good. I hope we get some, back and forth on this. That'll be good.
Yeah, I guess. Well, places where you could. So the first premise is for any positive state of affairs S that can begin to obtain, it's possible there is an external cause of S. So I guess you could argue that everything is just a brute fact, that it's not caused, that there's no causal relationships, like the first principle of causality doesn't hold. But I think there are people that would argue that way, but it's a very fringe thing. So if you just said everything is a brute fact, it's all determined, but even then, you still see things coming into existence that you would naturally say that there are causes, even if they're determined causes. It's possible that the state of affairs contingent concrete beings begins to obtain. I think we see contingent concrete beings exist. So you'd have to deny that there are contingent concrete beings that have obtained. So I think it's a very, very modest
I like it.
argument. So we'll see where it goes. Maybe it'll stand next to the ontological argument in the future.
I love it. Just keep adding them.
You love
it. Yeah, that's great. Awesome. Well, is there any argument stone left unturned? I'm sure there is stuff we haven't touched, but
I think we touched on the problem of evil when we talked about the moral argument, but we didn't give like a full.
Yeah, we should do that sometime. That'd be good.
What I can't think of the word.
Like a theodicy.
Theodicy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
I like that word. Yeah.
I'm getting old. I can't think of all the words. We haven't really explored some of the theodicies, like the soul making theodicy.
We should do that. That'd be good. Yeah.
So maybe we can do that sometime.
Love it. Well. Man, add it to the playlist of arguments. We got a bunch of episodes lined up. That is good.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll get some good engagement here. So thanks for hanging with us through this argument. That's our take. Thanks for listening to Take Two. Find us wherever you find podcasts and on YouTube for those who want to watch our videocast.